What is going on, guys, and welcome to another First Descendant video. Welcome to the Ultimate Weapon Guide, where you're going to find out everything you need to know about the weapons, how the weapon system works, how runes work within weapons, and all that good stuff. If this sounds interesting, a like would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to see more First Descendant content, guys, let's try to get this video to 100 likes so we can put out more content for you guys about the First Descendant. Don't forget, guys, if you're planning to play the First Descendant, to check our Discord, where we have a ton of really cool people just waiting to play the First Descendant. So make sure you guys go and check it out. So without further ado, let's talk about weapons. So one of the first things I want to let you guys know, there is a weaponsmith currently right now in the kind of setup that we have right now. It doesn't have too much, but I did want to let you guys know exactly what's available for you guys to get within the weapon vendor. You're able to purchase weapons, and of course you're able to sell weapons as you please. So when you purchase gear, you're going to be given weapons that you're going to be able to purchase with gold. Gold you're going to be able to get with just by basically playing the game. Now, in addition to that, guys, you're going to get these things called arch crystals. Now, these crystals are meant to enhance the weapon runes only for weapons, which will allow you to change the colors, which I have a separate video going over runes. We're going to talk a little bit about runes today, but not into full detail. Now, with that being said, this is what you're going to be able to buy. And once you sell an item, like let's say we want to go ahead and sell, let's go ahead and sell... Let's sell this. Let's go ahead and sell that. We're going to hit enter, and that's going to give me gold. Okay, so whatever you sell, it's going to give you a certain material. If it's less quality, it's going to give you less gold, and so on and so forth. This is a pretty good way to actually get gold, but we'll have a video more separately going into detail with that. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at the weapons and talk about what are the things I feel like are really important that you might miss when you look at a weapon or when you pick up a weapon. Theoretically, when you just start playing the game, it's not going to really matter. But as you get towards these end game contents, it is going to matter quite a lot. So we're going to go in here, and I want to go into the filter because I want to explain a couple things. Number one, these weapons are divided into tiers. Of course, blue tier, it's your regular weapon. Purple tier, it's going to be your kind of like, you know, mid-tier weapon that everybody's going to have once they hit level 40. And of course, the weapon everybody's going to be chasing is the tier 3 weapons. And these weapons, you know, are theoretically legendary weapons. Now, apart from that, the weapon category is important as well, because this is going to help you guys decide how to organize your weapons. So the weapon category is kind of divided into a very cool looking options, which once you guys understand, once I tell you guys are going to be like, okay, that makes sense. So we have hand cannons, submachine guns, tactical rifles, launchers, hand cannons, machine guns, scout rifles, beam rifles, shotguns, assault rifles, and snipers. Now, one thing I want you to pay close attention to, guys, is the bullet icon. So you have green, blue, purple, and gold. Now, if we back it up out here, you're going to notice that under resources, we have the same color of the particular weapons. Now, what makes this cool is the fact that, for example, I did this on purpose. If you guys notice right here, you're going to notice that I have a gold weapon, which is a gold bullet, I should say, and this is general rounds. And basically, this is going to only be for submachine guns, machine guns, and assault rifles, okay? The blue one's going to be for, these are impact rounds. These are going to be for hand cannons and scout rifles. Now, the problem with this is the fact that if you are running multiple rounds of this, so if you're running 2 blues, if I shoot this weapon, it's going to be depleting this ammo as well. So you do not want to run it like this. You want to look for weapons that have different types of bullet types. And I like the fact that they're actually displayed with an icon, so you could easily go in here. So for example, here I would just go look for some green ones. So let's go ahead and filter here, remove these, and I just look for green ones, and I look for purple ones. And that's just going to give me the ability to be able to get the ones I really think I could possibly use here, as opposed to getting the ones you know, I won't have access to. So if you sort by level, it's going to give you the best ones to have here. So what I want to do here is look for a weapon that I feel I'm going to be able to use, get a lot of damage, a lot of DPS with, but I'm still going to be, it's going to be very viable for me. So we have stuff like here, like a tactical one. So I'm going to go tactical. We're going to remove the launcher. We're going to remove the hand cannon. We're going to remove the beam cannon. We're going to remove the shotgun, and we're just going to leave it like that. And there's the options that I have. So let's go ahead and select this tactical rifle here. Okay, so now we go back to our menu here. Notice we have the 1 icon, 2 icon, 3 icons, totally different. So we're not going to be randomly wasting our bullets. Now let's go back into the weapon and talk about what we could understand from the menu. Now, some of this stuff is self-explanatory, but I kind of want to talk to you guys about the stuff that you probably might miss out. So rounds per magazine, you guys already know how many rounds your weapon has. DPS is the amount of damage. Of course, you want to be equipping the weapon with the highest damage per second. That's going to give you the best output. Fire rate, you guys already know. Running speed is extremely important because some of you guys just might overlook that and not think too much or not think about it. This just means that how heavy this weapon is, and your character does feel the weight when he's running. You're going to notice that when he's running with a certain weapon that's really heavy, he is going to be running like slower, and there's certain instances where your character needs to run fast to get away from enemies or to get around the map, that this is going to be hindering you just a little bit, especially for those raid boss battles. You're going to want to make sure you move around the arena very well, and that could kind of hinder you a little bit. So if you notice this other weapon we have right here, running speed is the screen. This is 530, this is 410, this is 540. If I put a hand cannon here, the running speed is really low, guys. So we go here, we go to handgun, and we remove that, and we hit enter here. You're going to notice that the running speed gets really reduced, so it gets heavily incremented on how fast it's actually going to be able to run. Of course, the higher it is, the more faster you're going to be able to run. The lower it is, the less speed you're going to have. So next up, guys, we're going to be taking a look at attack. You guys pretty much, that's the amount of raw damage it's going to be able to attack. Critical hit chance, really important because the percentile determines how much of a chance you have of actually hitting a crit shot. And it's going to be extremely important that you pay attention to, for example, this one, which is a scout rifle. It might not look so good in paper as far as the DPS, but the crit hit chance is relatively high. So that means I'm going to be critting more often than I would with firing this weapon, which is only a 9% chance or a 2% chance on this one. So of course you're going to definitely want to pay attention to that. Crit hit damage up close, this is 1.5, so it gets multiplied by that. As you guys see here with the tactical rifle, it gets ×2. And the other thing we get is the attack reduction start distance. So this is basically the reduction of the distance you have between that attack damage being applied. And then we have, as you guys see here, we have wave 20, wave 20, wave 20. And that is just pretty much determined on the way patterns you're able to shoot the weapon. There's a burst one, there's a wave, and basically just shooting patterns. All right, so the next thing we want to pay attention to, guys, are the blue text that are found within this items. So these items, these are going to be the benefits this particular or this unique weapon has, as opposed to getting another weapon with the same name, right? So this one's going to give you critical hit damage. It's going to give you more percentile of that. It's going to give you more rounds per second. Demonic attack, that's pretty much fire attack, and it's going to give you 5% defense. If we look at this one, we got critical hit damage, and the thing I like about this one is that you're going to notice that right here we have ice attack and electrical attack. This is where kind of synergy and builds come into play, because if you're running an elemental build, of course you're going to be looking for weapons that have synergy with your elements. So if you're applying a lot of ice, if you're applying a lot of electricity, a lot of demonic, then you're probably going to want to go for a weapon like that. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that, because some people will be going with a more elemental build and some people won't go with an elemental build. So having a weapon that has elemental benefits might not be so beneficial, or vice versa. And for example, this one we have rounds per magazine, attack, demonic, and electrical. So very similar to this one, but with different element types. Now that you understand the main concepts of this weapon, one thing I love about this game that is actually breaks down the weapon in its full entirety, so you can kind of better understand what the weapon's benefits are. So right here, it gives you a complete breakdown of the weapon, and it also puts it in numbers so you can know exactly where you're getting these, kind of benefits from. So one thing to keep in mind, guys, that this game overextends in, and we're going to talk a little bit more when I talk about the rune video, is the fact that these weapons, each weapon, you're going to be able to apply a rune. Now, these runes are going to be very beneficial, and the first thing that happened to me when I first started the game, I wasn't really paying attention to too much how the runes synergized with the weapon. I was mostly paying attention to how the runes benefit me as a person, so reload speed and stuff like that. But basically what you want to do, guys, each particular slot here, you're gonna notice it says 1, 3, and 2. Each particular slot will be corresponding to a specific weapon type. So as you can see right here, the storm rune, this is going to be applied to assault rifles, submachine guns, and handguns. The torrent rune is going to be applied to tactical rifles and beam rifles, and the rave rune is going to be applied to scout rifles and hand cannons. It's extremely important that you understand this because that's going to give you a better understanding of what weapon you want. So for example, if I want to apply a reload rune to an assault rifle, that's not going to be very beneficial because the reload speed on here is actually pretty good. Now, if this was an LMG or a weapon that actually required really fast reload, then I would definitely apply that reload rune to that particular weapon or particular archetype. Now, for example, if I'm trying to run crit shots, yes, an AR would probably be a good option for me to put some crit runes on it. But of course, I want to put my crits on the weapon that's going to be hitting more crits, for example, the scout rifle. So knowing where to put these runes is going to be extremely important. So I didn't want to make sure you guys didn't overlook that when you're deciding to where to put your runes and if you should delete the runes you're actually picking up. In addition to that, guys, this is going to help you structure like what type of weapon you want to run within your build. And one more thing that I need you guys to pay attention to is this one that a lot of people will probably overlook, and that is the proficiency level. This is level 1. Of course, the more proficient you become with that particular weapon, the higher you're going to be able to level this weapon up until you actually get it to a higher level. As far as how high that level goes, I currently don't know, but hopefully as soon as I find out, I'll definitely put it in the pinned comment. Another thing I want to mention, guys, about the weapons, and this is mostly for like tips for you guys, so when you guys get the game, you guys know exactly what's going on, because I remember when I was playing Destiny, when we were playing the Anthem, the Division, stuff like that, everybody was asking for these type of features, and I'm glad the game already comes with it. So if there's a particular weapon, say you really, really love and really enjoy, like for example, I really enjoy this weapon, you could actually press U on here, and this is on the pretty much on the mouse and keyboard, and that's going to put the weapon within my favorite slot. So I won't be able to delete this weapon until I unfavorite it, which is really cool. Another cool thing about this, guys, if you want to mass delete weapons, so if you like say you have a bunch of weapons here, right, and you want to mass delete them, so you want to get rid of them here, let's go ahead and get rid of that. So let's say there's these weapons that you're like, nah, I don't like this weapon, so let's say I want to get rid of these weapons right here. The cool thing is here is you could mass delete, so you could just click on the mouse pad, you could click right, and then you click right click, and then you could automatically activate the little garbage can. And then if you hold Control L, of course, depending if you're on a controller or on a PC, it doesn't really matter, but you Control L. And one thing I love is if you're in controller, your controller actually rumbles. So in case you're doing this by mistake, you will be like, oh snaps, I messed up. So you automatically delete all 3 of them, which is a very cool feature that it's already in the game. So we really don't have to ask for that particular feature. Now we're still testing a couple weapons to kind of determine what are the best weapon archetypes that I'm going to recommend. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that video. But now that you know everything about the weapons, you're going to want to know everything that there is to know about runes, because they are extremely important not only to your character, but also to weapons. So make sure you check out this video that's popping up right now on the screen, because that's going to give you the best information when it comes to rune. If you're enjoying our First Descendant coverage here on the channel, a like would be greatly appreciated, because that does help us out with the algorithm. If you want to go the extra mile and want to support the channel and help us get better content, more games out to you guys, do consider becoming part of the Bolt Nation by hitting that join button down below. A lot of really cool incentives, especially with this game coming out. We will be streaming it, helping you guys complete all that high-end content as an incentive to joining the Bolt Nation. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video.